my mission and vision has always been to provide jobs here in Kenya. But it mainly started within the marginalized communities, right? Most of our artisans, they come from single, widowed, disadvantaged homes. And we would bring, we open up our workshop, basically bring in and do in-house trainings. Hey, hey, welcome to Moxie Uncut. This is the second episode of the year, and this whole month we are talking about renewal and new beginnings. I know that's a little cliche as we go into the month, and you're like, okay, new beginnings. We talk about this every year, but if you did not catch the episode last week, I encourage you to listen to it. We talked about Weekly Wild Lesson 52 from 2024 about just how hope and can create opportunity, and opportunity challenges can create opportunity as well. Messing that up a little bit, go check out the episode, whatnot. By the way, speaking of new beginnings, I am on a detox this month, meaning I have not had one cup of coffee for 2 weeks, and I'm actually feeling pretty good. I have a lot of energy, but two, I just thoroughly enjoy coffee. I don't actually drink coffee because like out of a necessity. It started out of the enjoyment of it when I was in my 20s and never drank coffee before, and then just love it. And being in Kenya, we have amazing coffee and tea and all the things. But I digress. All that to say, if my brain seems a little foggy, that is what this podcast is about. Uncut, we make literally uncut is kind of a play on words. Uncut because you're getting a back end of my life, and uncut because we literally do very little editing. So you're getting raw me processing and talking to you. This whole year, it's just going to be me and you talking about the different weekly wild lessons from 2024, bringing them into today. And my hope is that it is inspiration and motivation for you. So, again, check out the first episode of the year. Also, fun fact, we are almost on episode 200. So, we have multiple seasons, obviously, throughout the last 6 years, onto our seventh year, but we have almost recorded 200 episodes. And in fact, we probably have recorded more. I need to ask my team because we did several solo series a couple years ago. Funny because this whole thing is going to be solo this year. But we did several solo series in the midst of also interviews and stuff, and we kind of pinned those differently. So I'll have to check in on that if we've already hit 200. But either way, I'm going to make it a big deal when we do. So let me get my facts straight and I'll get back to you. But let's hop in today. Today, we're going to talk about Weekly Wild Lesson 20. This happened May of last year, and the lesson was pressing reset is sometimes the next best step, or the best next step. Next best step, however you want to say that. But pressing reset, this idea that it's okay to, no matter where you are in your world, in time frame of your world, to press reset. At this time, I was actually traveling the country with my family. We have an RV, and all me, my husband, and my three littles, and we had a travel nanny, Nina. She was amazing. We were all on the road. So we went to, I don't know, I think 30 states. We go to a lot of different states. We see a lot of people. And I just remember feeling uh like excited and rejuvenated, and also seeing the shift in my priorities, which is really wild because I have seen how those shift in my priorities has changed the way I actually run my business as well. And so I just want to encourage you that if you're feeling a little bit like, man, I'm not sure I want to keep doing it the way I'm doing it right now, then I would encourage you to think about that. Like, what does reset look like for you? And that it's okay to press reset. I think sometimes we think, oh, if we set a goal or we set an intention for the year and we don't actually do it, that then we're failing. But the reality is it's your goal. It's your intention, and you're not failing. You're learning and you're growing, and how to best live a life that serves you, your community, your family, how to best live a life that's balanced, that makes sense, both mentally, spiritually, physically, and you can press reset. So, this is my permission to you today. Press reset. Know that pressing reset is sometimes the next best thing, right? It's the next best step. We don't need to add things to our life. Maybe we need to retract and take things away. So, my challenge to you today, I want to challenge you to reflect, maybe sit down this week if you can find a place sometime this week where you can just have an hour for yourself and you can think through all the things that light you up. There's a trend that goes around right as we enter the new year where it's like, what's in and what's out. It's kind of like that. I never hop on that one because sometimes my ins are outs and my outs are ins, and I don't like really staying so rigid. I really like going with the flow of my body, the flow of my mind, the flow of my spirit of what lights me up. So, what does this mean? When you think of something, do you get excited about it or is it draining? Now, there are things in our life that we're going to have to do that kind of suck the energy out of us. The one thing that sucked the energy out of me for almost 5 years was getting my doctorate. Oh my goodness. I would sit with my coach and she's like, "Why are you getting your doctorate? This does not light you up." But I knew my goal and I knew at the end of it what I wanted to accomplish. So I pushed through it. So sometimes there's things that we just push through because we know we want to push through it. And sometimes we don't need to do that. So I'm going to ask you what lights you up, and I hope that you can kind of connect the dots and press a little reset button for yourself and say, "Okay, I'm going to start some new rhythms, some new things this year." And again, if you're listening to this episode and it's the middle of the year, you can still press reset because this lesson went out at the end of May last year when I was like, "Man, I need some reset." And the reason why I like really needed some reset is because we were going all these different places. We were traveling. I was still running the business. I still am running the business, but I was like running the business. I was obviously teaching my classes as I'm a professor. And I just asked myself at the end of the day, like, where is my time and energy being spent? And is my family really getting the best of me? That's what I worry about a lot. Like, is my family getting the best of me? Because at the end of the day, like, man, they deserve me and they deserve the joy and the excitement of what I can bring. And so I just knew I wanted to reset. I wanted to allocate things different. I wanted to get a support system a little bit. And I just wanted to be okay with knowing that it was okay to press reset. So that's my encouragement to you guys, kind of my prayer for y'all as you move into this year is, what is the intentions that you're doing? What are some new beginnings that you have? And to press reset. And I want to share a story with you. Story time, Moxie Uncut. Of this year actually. So as we went into this year, we actually transitioned our entire team to Kenya solely. So my mission and vision has always been to provide jobs here in Kenya. But it mainly started within the marginalized communities, right? Most of our artisans, they come from single widow disadvantaged homes. And we would we open up our workshop, basically bring in and do in-house training. So no skills, no educational background. And that's still the demographic that we go after to support and to help. That has not changed. But the reality of where we sit in our business now is we are a global business. We do a lot of different things. And there's a lot of talent sitting in Kenya with marketing, a lot of talent sitting in here with sales representatives, a lot of talent in chief executive positions that have really great educational background, have really good problem solving skills, have really good experience. And so we started to hire. I started to hire really our chief of staffs and things many years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. But then we started to develop our team here, our sales team and our marketing team and all of this. And that was really scary for me because for the longest time, especially running a social enterprise, the model that I always saw is that, artisans make across the world, but the actual operations is being ran in country, aka being ran in the States. And I thought, okay, that's how it has to look. That's how it has to feel. And we did that. And we did well at it. Now, the issue when you're running a brand that is growing and the main priority is to provide jobs for marginalized women, but then you're having to I wouldn't say we didn't divert from our mission, but you're having to hire so many people on the ground. Your overhead starts to look a little different, and it becomes actually quite difficult to run a business like that, a business model. If you're in tech industry or other things, that's a whole nother thing. But with a product based handmade business, your cogs have to make sense. And I loved our team. There was nothing wrong with our team, but I knew I had to press reset for us to survive. For instance, if you have had a business and even a nonprofit, you've seen the shifts that have happened in the last 2 years. If you've, just been working within a business as well and as a support role, then you've seen the shifts as well. It's been really hard of an economy, and we've taken a loss the last 2 years. And we're on the up and up now. It was very little this last year, and we're on the up and up. But the reality is the income and the revenue coming in, we're not justifying overhead, and so we had to make this switch and we had to reset. And so I had to be really brave walking through of letting go of a team that that are my friends. And those are hard conversations to have with people who've been with you for a really long time and who just have the most beautiful hearts and the biggest talent. But as I made these hard decisions, it started to shift in a way where prioritization of values, prioritization of time started to make sense. And the one thing that really made sense for me individually was synchronizing and our team to be here just for our mission alone and our values of providing more jobs in country in Kenya, but also to be in a place that is on the same time zone as me as CEO and founder. One of the most difficult things that I have to do is manage a team that is across the pond. So we can say across the pond, across the Atlantic, because time difference, and something that I had to sacrifice for so many years was my sleep. And that is really it's really simple, right? But for the longest time, I just didn't want to make that shift. I sacrificed a lot, and I felt that if I made a decision for myself, that was being selfish. And I had to work through those emotions of understanding that these decisions of pressing reset, of prioritizing my health, of prioritizing my family was not selfish. And in fact, I was going to be able to show up better for my team and better for my organization, and that it was going to have more impact in the end. And so that is a little bit of a sidestep and side story. But welcome to Moxie Uncut, where you just don't know what you're going to get, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's relationships, whether it's about faith. It's all going to be a little bit different here. But my encouragement to you is, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed as you're already into this new year, and you're like, man, I just got a lot on my plate, it's okay to step back and reevaluate and reset already. So don't be afraid to do that. Know that it's a new slate, and you can start your new slate anytime in the year. So press reset, get excited, find out what lights you up, go out and follow that light. And I trust me, when you follow that light and you step into all that you were made to be, you're going to continue to make really big change in this world. Really big change. And your world might be just your neighborhood. And I shouldn't say just, because that is beautiful. Your world might be your neighborhood. Your world might be your family. Your world might be another country. Whatever it is, you don't have to be all over the world to make a change in your world. And God has a purpose for you. So press that reset button, take a deep breath, and know that you're going to be okay this year. And I am cheering you on. So, okay, community, keep on following, keep on trekking with me as we go through this year. And as always, Moxie on.